My name is Lucas Aoun. I uncover the most cutting edge health information on the planet, ranging from hormones, nutrition, supplementation, fat loss, biohacking, longevity, wellness, and a whole lot more. Welcome to the Boost Your Biology podcast. What I really want to do is identify and outline why we should be very careful when selecting which eggs to consume. So eggs are definitely a high protein food that can definitely be used to assist with not only building muscle, but also with aiding in recovery and also assisting with achieving your daily protein target. Now, what I want to do is actually identify and outline the differences with the different types of eggs on the market. There is a significant difference between conventional eggs and pasture-raised organic eggs. Conventional eggs potentially sit on shelves for up to 60 days. Now, chickens are fed GMOs, corn, soy, which is unnatural for them, and they also consume animal byproducts such as carcasses, feathers, organs, blood, skin, and even manure. So this is why it's crucial to know, which eggs you're consuming and why we should be opting for pasture-raised organic eggs. Now, we need to remind ourselves that chickens are omnivores, and it's unnatural for them to only consume grains, and the color of the egg yolks can be artificially manipulated using synthetic dyes to trick consumers. Now, eggs from natural chickens that consume their proper diet have a rich yellow color due to natural antioxidants, which are important for eye health, but commercially produced eggs have less of these antioxidants due to artificial dyes and additives. Now, conventional chickens are kept in cages with no access to sunlight, whilst cage-free chickens have limited space. Free-range chickens have slightly more space and limited outdoor access, and pasture-raised chickens have the most space and are allowed to forage for bugs and worms. Now, we want to be buying antibiotic-free or organic pasture-raised eggs to avoid consuming antibiotics and other harmful substances used in conventional egg production. Now, here's a gentle reminder. Chicken eggs that are labeled as omega-3 enriched may not have a reliable source of omega-3s. So it's better to focus on pasture-raised organic eggs and consider raising your own chickens for more satisfying and delicious eggs. Now, here's why pasture-raised is best. And if we can compare conventional eggs to pasture-raised, number one, conventional eggs generally are cheaper, but these chickens are kept in cramped cages. They're generally fed a low-quality diet, high in corn and soy. They're higher in omega-6s, and they have less vitamins. The pasture-raised eggs, on the other hand, have 2 times more omega-3. They have 3 times more vitamin E. They have 2 to 3 times more vitamin A. And these chickens live in open spaces. They're fed high-quality natural diet. They're better tasting, but they are indeed slightly more expensive. So we need to factor this into how eggs can be produced and also which eggs we should be opting for. But this is something that no one really talks about online or in health communities and forums, and that is, what are the impacts or the effects of consuming too many eggs? Now, most people hyperfixate on the cholesterol content of eggs, but it's somewhat true that it doesn't really matter how many eggs you consume. The cholesterol that you consume in eggs doesn't necessarily affect your cholesterol markers on your blood test. A lot of that comes down to your thyroid hormones, your genetic predispositions, and also nutrient deficiencies. They have a more powerful effect on your cholesterol parameters on your blood test result. But this is something that no one really talks about, and that is the effects of too many eggs. So let's say you consume, 4 to 5 or maybe 6 eggs, including the yolks, every single day. that can actually lead to something known as excess acetylcholine. Now, obviously, eggs are a rich source of choline. It can act as a choline precursor, but this is what happens when you consume too much choline and you get the symptoms of excess acetylcholine. So, this user noted that following consumption of high doses of choline precursors such as CDP choline and alpha GPC, this is what the user said. Extreme depression, severe intrusive thoughts, and unbearable lethargy and brain fog. It was pretty obvious for me because I got these symptoms immediately 3 times. Once after 300 milligrams of CDP choline, once after 300 milligrams of alpha GPC, and the last time was triggered after eating eggs and supplementing with fish oil for a few weeks. I am very sensitive to eggs and fish now to the point I avoid them whenever I can. Even a handful of shrimp can send me into a spiral of OCD and depression. My symptoms were so bad, my brain didn't form enough long-term memory to remember how I fixed it exactly. I think I solved it with lots of Benadryl and dopamine serotonin promoting substances like ginkgo biloba, rhodiola, panax ginseng, etc. I'd recommend staying away from choline like the plague. It was too easy to overdo and was too difficult to fix once you overdo. Took me nearly half a year to fully recover. So obviously that's an extreme case, but he said there are several threads on longevity you can find by Googling choline depression longevity. Those threads have a good wealth of helpful information. This next user said, anyone else get intensely depressed after taking choline? So he said, when I first started taking choline, I noticed I got extremely depressed for days after, like complete mental breakdown, suicidally depressed. I thought it was a fluke and maybe other life stresses got me to that place, but it was so abrupt and not like my normal behavior and coincided exactly with my choline use and ceased after stopping it. So recently I started taking it again, still not convinced it was the cause, and the same exact things has started happening. I was writing a suicide note despite everything in my life being relatively okay, when suddenly I remembered I'd been taking choline, and then I stopped myself thinking I must be temporarily out of my mind again because of this drug, and had to hold off on making any kind of decisions like that until it's out of my system. Is this really possible, or am I just a basket case shifting blame on a harmless supplement? I tend to be extremely sensitive to medications and drugs in general, so I don't know. Now, this is obviously an extreme case of choline overdose and someone who's highly sensitive to the effects of too much acetylcholine. But this is something that can also be noticed if you have a number of eggs each day. If you're consuming maybe like 5 to 6 eggs every single day and you're sensitive to excess acetylcholine, does this have a flatlining effect on your mood? Does it make you depressed? Leave a comment below. There's a lot of anecdotal evidence online on Reddit where users who are taking alpha GPC, CDP choline, or other choline donors, they notice that too much acetylcholine can actually leave them feeling flat and depressed. So this is something we just really need to watch out for and just pay attention to. And this is something that I've noticed if I have let's say 5 to 6 eggs every single day for like 4 to 5 days straight, over time, I will start to notice a decline in mood. And so this is just something to be aware of. And a reminder, as far as eating eggs go, we should be opting for pasture-raised organic eggs. So that pretty much wraps up today's podcast episode. If you learned something new, please do me a favor and leave a 5-star review for the podcast channel. Otherwise, guys, thank you so much for listening in. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.